Hello and welcome to the Aquarius full moon video in my incredible backyard with this amazing weather. I feel very lucky and gifted that universe decided to give this gorgeous weekend where it's not too hot, but it's not pouring rain. There's no lightning, there's no thunder. I'll take it. We're going to talk about the Aquarius full moon. I will get into slides in a moment. Remember that whenever I record for a new moon or a full moon, you will also get the rising signs along with the general gist of the energy, the transits, how the planets are talking to each other. And then I'm going to tell you how you can use that energy best for you. Also, on a practical level, it's not just vibes. We were having the professional astrologers and I were having a conversation about that earlier today. I'm Suzzy, if I haven't said that. And before we get into the slides, if this is your jam, if you like to learn about astrology in a non-harmful way, because I'm not here to dysregulate your nervous system in the favor of views, hop on over to Patreon if you're not already watching that here. If you are watching this here, thank you so much for being on Patreon. If you join free, you have access to every full and new moon video. And then, of course, there's stuff in the levels, but you always have access to every full and new moon video on the free level. There's other lots of stuff, great stuff on the free level. And if you need, if this is hitting your chart in all kinds of ways, like a pinball machine, right? If it's playing hot potato with your planets, as well as the planets in the sky right now, there are astrology readings available. You go to SuzzyEvolutionary.com. I proudly work with Lori Rivers in the Wake Space. It'll take you right there. And the beautiful thing is, there's payment options. There's Zelle, and there's another one that you can book your appointment. And I'm a big fan of all of those. I use them for everything. So you can do a payment plan. You can book individual reading, consultation, solar return. We can talk about relationship synastry. We're doing a lot about that in Patreon right now. We can talk about anything, and I can use your chart for anything because astrology is amazing. So I believe there's a discount also if you're on the Wake Space Patreon. And yeah. Oh, and I have a moon planner on my website. That's self-explanatory on the website. Let's get into these slides. So this is a full moon in Aquarius, and this is everything you will need to know. All 12 rising signs. Could you get more information? Absolutely. I'm going to go over what you can use in this energy, the mindset that may work the best for this kind of energy. We will talk about how it continues, because one of the reasons I have a moon planner is the moon is cyclical. So we're going to talk about how that energy is carrying over from the last lunation. We're going to talk about the real energy of Aquarius. We're going to talk about all of it, but in a way that is easily understood and you can apply it to your real life. We're not just going to talk about the cosmic shifts and the cosmic tides. I love cosmic tides. That's great. But it's going to be more than vibes. Okay. Because Aquarius would allow nothing else. Aquarius is not going to give you a whole bunch of new age speak. You're going to give it to you straight, no chaser, in a way that just benefits everyone. So let's get into it, shall we? About this full moon. We're looking at the Aquarius full moon, my astro-curious baddies, and this one arrives loud, bright, and honest, which we love about Aquarius. I love an Aquarius placement. I don't slander any of the signs here. One, because that's lazy astrology. And two, there's no reason to slander any of the signs if you fully understand the depth of what they all carry and their purpose. Just the same that like a great team we'll have different people who excel at different things so that they complete each other, right? There, where one person has weakness, another person has strength, and that brings balance. That's what full moons are about. And so, also, there's not one sign that's better than another. Sorry, I know slander does really, really well on TikTok, but there's healthier expressions and expressions that are in transit and in personal development. And then there's, like, mastery of some of these expressions. But most of us are just on our arc, on our journey, expressing through all the different beautiful placements. I'm probably going to be very Aquarius and very fact based in this video because, again, I want to honor the energy of both the full moon, which is honesty and truth coming out, and Aquarius. So, the moon reaches its fullness at 6 degrees and 30 minutes of Aquarius on July 29th, opposite Sun and Leo, and the Sun is sitting right next to Jupiter. So the illumination is turned all the way up, you could say, because that is sitting on the seesaw with the moon, that Jupiter, right, along with the sun. A full moon means the fruit is ripe. Listen, 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 Linda. Okay, first of all, just I have slides because I'm a Gemini Mercury, and I will find a million things to go left at Albuquerque because I love to talk about any of the things, right? I want to make it clear that a full moon, and for those of you in my community who've heard this a million times, I apologize. But a new moon is the darkest phase. It's like walking into your kitchen in the middle of the night. You could close your eyes, somebody could blindfold you, and you could still find your way to the fridge. You could still find yourself to the Brita water filter and the glass in the cabinet without bumping into anything because internally you have it mapped. Internally, that is a new moon phase. You can just focus on getting your water, and you could probably go right back to sleep. You haven't woken yourself up. You can do it in the dark. That's what she said. A full moon fully illuminates everything. It's like one of those, what were those magazines with was it called Hidden Something? I don't know. When I was a kid in the 70s, before fire and everything, they would have these, and somebody put it in the comments, these magazines. They would be at every doctor's office, every dentist office, and you would find the hidden picture. And it's no fun to find the hidden things. Where there's only two things in the room. It's very easy. There's no game to that. When we have a full moon, everything is illuminated. You see everything, and that can feel chaotic, especially right now in society where we're overworked, overstressed, under-relaxed. Resets feel lazy, and we're going to talk about that at some point. But when we're already overwhelmed, when we hear the full moon being talked about as chaotic and crazy, it is a little bit more chaotic. It illuminates everything, right? It's chaotic because all of a sudden we can't close our eyes to something. And if we internally are determined to close our eyes to something, that's the resistance that makes the full moon feel scary. It's not the full moon itself, it's the resistance to seeing all the things that the full moon is showing you. However that comes into view, whether your friend calls you and goes, I got to tell you something, or all of a sudden you're taking notice of something you were too busy to take notice of before. It can come in a million ways, but that is the vibe. Full moons are when we pick the ripe fruit. It's harvest time. We get to see what we seeded. We get to see what we grew. We get to see what we nurtured and how it does, and whether it needs more water, less water, or more light, or less light. They're not scary. You can really reap a lot of rewards. It's party time. New moon's planning the party, full moon's having the party. As astrologers, if you're going to open a business and you're going to send out an email, right? I might look for really great mercurial transits if you're sending out a mass email, if you're doing a digital launch, if you're having an opening party in physicality, I'm going to tell you to have it in a full moon. That's party time, babe. It means all the light on all the moving parts, which is exactly when you get to see which parts you thought you needed and which ones you've quietly outgrown. On one side, you have the sun with Jupiter in Leo, part of you that wants to be seen, to create, to lead with your whole heart. And also, the leadership is here. And it's making sure authentically that you are leading with what you know to be right, with what you feel passionate about, what makes you feel seen in your own body, in your own mind, in your own sense of safety, in your own sense of feeling warm, like you are being true to yourself, not leadership based on what you think somebody else thinks you should be so that you can get the approval or the praise. I'm not even going to go there. So tempting to talk about Leo full moons, and we're not going to do that with the, go listen to Lori. Full moons that involve Leo, the Aquarius full moon. It means, you know, on one side you have the sun and Jupiter kind of hanging out. They're holding hands. They're snuggling. They're at the same degree, at that 6 degrees. And that's a part of you, right, that wants to lead authentically and maybe do something big, and maybe you're feeling ready to step into view without worrying about what other people are saying. That would be the mature, lovely energy of Leo. On the other side sits the moon in Aquarius, and that is the part of you that steps back far enough to really take it in, all of the information, all of it, pragmatically, um, and ask what's actually yours versus where you're looking to just belong for belonging's sake. The sweet spot is right in the middle. All full moons are about balance, and there is a sweet spot to be had. Expressing yourself fully without disappearing into the group, disappearing into other people's approvals. The belonging to your people without abandoning yourself. The moon is also really traveling close to Pluto. Now, it's interesting because, the moon is at 6 degrees and the and 30 minutes, and the Jupiter is at 6 degrees. The sun, right on the other side of that seesaw, those are both at 6 degrees. Now, the Pluto is at 4 and it's in retrograde. So it's kind of moving away. It's still impacting. However, it is not as close as Jupiter is to the sun. It's not even in conjunction, that Jupiter in opposition is having a stronger conversation with the moon than Pluto is. And also, Pluto is transformation and personal power, never doom. It's deconstruction, right? So, like, it depends on your personal relationship to attachment and resilience so that you know how to reconstruct what you deconstructed, whether you feel like deconstruction is a bad word. And I'll leave that sit there, but hop on in the community if you want to have more conversations about that make you feel more comfortable with that word. Um, you know, underneath that brightness is a real invitation to reclaim something that you may have handed over to release an attachment that was never really, working for the current version of you. There is no shame, but I mean, fuck shame, right? It's a useless emotion. Uh, in what you choose not to water. That's none of anybody's business what you decide to continue on with and what you don't, what you let go. I don't care if you told everybody, I'm going to do this on this date. I don't care. Anybody that loves and supports you wants you to be at peace and proud and fully like good with what you're doing, how you're doing it, when you're doing it. They should only care about your happiness, not how you get there. Um, not everything is meant to keep growing. and thanking something for its purpose and not looking at it as failure, that is wisdom. And this is a Saturnian run moon. It's the more progressive. It's if Saturn representing Capricorn is daddy, then Saturn representing Aquarius is zaddy with a Z. It's it is Saturnian. It's the wisdom you glean from having experience. I hate quantifying anything that didn't come to completion or didn't end up exactly on the plan that you started with as failure or mistakes. I almost just made a very inappropriate gesture. It's wisdom. There's a great line. I'm going to do it. I'm going to quote a Marvel movie. There's a great line in Endgame in the beginning of the movie where, Loki's trying to trick Thanos and he says, well, if you're going to Earth, you might want to take a guide, somebody who's had experience there. And Thanos says, if you mean failure as experience, if you consider failure experience, and Loki stops and looks at him and he says, I consider experience experience. Yes, Loki, that is Mercury, right? It's not failure because it didn't go to plan. It's just learned wisdom. It's learned experience. The ruler of the full moon is Saturn, currently retrograde in Aries, which reads like a do-over. And especially if you thought this is my version of authenticity when you went into the plan and now you realize because you've changed, right? And I mean, who is not changing in these transits? I mean, I think we can look and see who's not changing because they're all throwing Yosemite Sam fits and being harmful because they can't adapt to change and they won't. And they want things to go backwards, right? But if you're listening to me, you're not one of those people. And so we're all changing in these transits. The authenticity you feel today could be different than the authenticity you felt 2 months ago, and that's okay. That doesn't make you a flip-flopper, that doesn't make you inconsistent, that doesn't make you a failure, doesn't make you wrong, doesn't make you any of that. Um, Wherever you have been too rigid or too structured, that's probably where you maybe need to rebuild. It's a review point, not a starting gun. We will go sign by sign in the risings, so you know exactly which room of your life this is lighting up. And if you want to know more about the house subjects, that's something we also do in the Patreon. I have a whole learning series. They're not astrology classes, but they are great for people who want to not feel fearful when a transit hits a certain house because you will know the planets, you will know the real astrology of the planets, not the fear mongering pop astrology or the half assed astrology, which is just as harmful, even if it's not meant to be. And you will know the signs and you will know the houses, and the houses are kind of the basis. They get slept on. It's not good rage bait. House subjects is not good rage bait, so you don't hear a lot about it. I said what I said. This the planets are not happening to us, they're happening for us, right? And I don't mean to be reductionary to anybody who's going through hard stuff right now. But the planets are planeting. And then we can take our free will and meet the moment. And sometimes that moment is rest. It depends on how it's hitting your chart, right? You are where you are and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Make sure I sit forward because if I sit backwards, somebody might confuse that light with my halo. And I would never want that mistake to be made. Okay, the real energy of Aquarius, not the aloof, unfeeling, too cool to care cliche. That is a lazy read of a sign that runs some of the most principled, future minded people that you will ever meet. Ethical humanitarianism is run by Aquarius. They're not shitty. They're not cold. They're just not a drama llama. And while somebody else is in their pain and they won't realize that they're being dramatic or emotionally manipulative, you kind of can't most Aquarius placements, especially if you have more than one or you've got a ton of 11th house, um, they are less susceptible to any kind of emotional manipulation. And in all fairness, some people that are perpetrating emotional manipulation, that's what they were taught. They don't know any different. Um, and they're just not there yet in their journey, right? But you're not going to get that response. So, somebody who depends on, if you really love me, if you would do this, ultimatums, those kind of things, those are the people that are going to find Aquarius cold. And if you, well, I'm just going to say it because it's an Aquarius full moon video. If you see astrologers online calling Aquarius cold, that should give you a little insight. Um, it has no attachment, right? It, the conflation comes from Aquarius's superior attachment style. It's the most healthy of the 12 signs. And I'm a Cancer with an Aries moon. I had to work hard on my attachment and I probably will still have to work on it. I'm way better. I'm now at the fine tuning, the nuance of things. But man, do I love an Aquarius because like I want to be that healed from any kind of attachment style. That is what I aspire to. It has no attachment to what doesn't actually make sense. If it's not logical, why are we making a big deal out of it? That's all it is. It's not that they don't care about your feelings. Of course they care. Um, and it's not just what makes sense, but what makes sense for the good of all. Aquarius is fixed air. Fixed means it holds its position, and it's run by Saturn. And yes, Aquarius, but Aquarius is genius and a million other good things. Aquarius is that girl. Everybody in my community is right. It's that girl. Aquarius will tell you, you have broccoli in your teeth and toilet paper in your shoe. You probably shouldn't wear those jeans again. And please stop dating him. That's Aquarius. I'm Aquarius. I mean, I'm Uranus as a person. I mean, I kind of am. It's in my first house, but like that's Uranian. Like, why would I let you sit there with broccoli in your teeth? Would you rather I not tell you? And then you're talking to everybody else with broccoli in your teeth? No, you don't want that. You want the friend that's gonna tell you you got the broccoli in your teeth and toilet paper on your shoe. By the way, you tucked your dress in your underwear. It's me. I'm Uranus, right? So we have that and the progressive Saturn running Aquarius. It's not it's it's good. Uh it doesn't fold under pressure. It commits. And air means that it's going to work through ideas. It's going to process before it emotes maybe a little bit. Um Perspective and the ability to step back and see the whole system and instead of just your seat in it. Think about things that are being called progressive right now. It's about the good of all. Put those together, and the real skill set is authentic individualization, knowing what you actually think apart from the crowd, right? Aquarius is like quirky. We see somebody who's got like different color hair or like five different colors on their glasses, or they're like wearing a dress, like they're dressed like Punky Brewster. Punky Brewster, classic. If you don't know, if you're a spring chicken and not a well-seasoned chicken, either one is fine. Any kind of chicken is fine. But if you're a spring chicken, you can Google Punky Brewster. The way that chick dresses, very, very Aquarius. It's that individualism. She was not doing what everybody else was doing. She did what made her happy without a thought to whether she fit in the crowd. She'd rather start a trend than be a slave to one. Belonging to a community without losing a thread of who you are inside of it. I mean, we should all be aspiring to that. Seeing the bigger picture clearly and still staying true to yourself. If inside of it are two of the hardest things to do on purpose in any chart. Aquarius does it on instinct, and that energy is what is holding the full light of this full moon. Okay. Um, I forgot to change the title. let's talk about the transits. So the main things that I'm going to look at and consider to be most impactful as a practicing professional astrologer. So you're not going to hear me talk about stars, fixed stars, or dwarf planets, or um, asteroids, uh, or nodes. It doesn't it doesn't really matter for this full moon. None of those things are really large enough to impact us. Going to give you just basic definitions, and this is so beautiful in an Aquarius full moon video, and you're going to go, oh, astronomy is the study of the celestial bodies, right? What's in the sky, what they do, where they move, how they rotate, how they work, what do they look like, what's the terrain, all that stuff. Astrology is a study of how those celestial bodies have an effect on us, our world. So, if something is very small, it's not orbiting with everything else, or it just doesn't have the energy, it doesn't have the weight to have a strong enough conversation to come all the way and affect us. One's the study of the celestial bodies, the other is the study of how those celestial bodies affect us. So I'm not going to talk about things that are fixed points, don't physically exist. Some of these things that people really like to talk about, this is going to do that, and that's going to come and give you a new wound. Not around here, partner, not around here. So the things that I will look at as a practicing professional astrologer is the opposition of Jupiter to the moon, as well as Pluto in conjunction to the moon. We can also consider that Uranus, Neptune and Uranus, but also as the ruler, even though it's in a very wide sextile, Saturn, because it is the ruler. Also, while not involved in the convo, that Moon and Mars square at 21 degrees in mutables, um, that is going to help us find very creative, specific solutions um, in that square. And in pursuit already of a solution, an epiphany may come, as they often do in full moons. Helpful mindset and cyclical energy, right? Because that's what the moon does. Again, check out my moon planner because that's going to help you figure out your own cyclical personal energy. Everybody's got different energy because you have your own moon phase, your own moon sign, and your own moon degree, and your own house that your moon is in. And when you get it, you get a chart. You get a free chart. There's a QR. You fill out the Google sheet. Boom. We don't take your information. You get a free chart. And it's got all that stuff. And then there's places to do the things you need to do so that you can track. The moon is cyclical. We are cyclical. Society is cyclical. I will not belabor the point. And how important it is to know your rising degree. Let me remind you that the last donation we had was the new moon in Cancer. That was conjunct that Mercury retrograde. And it was asking you to pivot before you emotionally commit to a new project, before you emotionally commit to a new plan. Like, I'm telling everybody, I'm going to do this, right? Pivoting is still on the menu with this moon. It's conjunct Pluto, even though Pluto is already almost 2 degrees out and retrograding. I give very small orbs to Pluto. But think Moldavite, the way it comes in, I think Tower card. What the Tower card is not clearing, it's not crumbling your foundation. It's crumbling the obstacle. When you think of the Tower card as everything's crumbling, my whole world is falling apart. Yeah, that sounds scary as fuck. What is not? It's crumbling the obstacle. You can see more clearly when you're open to changing the plan. Being in proving mode will not be helpful at this time. Like whether you're doing something to prove to other people, even to prove to yourself, to me, Proving is bedfellows of shame and lazy and judgment. And I wish they would all just go away. It'll take a very long time, if ever, in society before we get out of that. And it's also a natural part of the journey for us. But proving mode will not be helpful here. Your rising degree decides how exactly this lands for you personally. If your rising degree is 6 degrees and 30 minutes or under, use your actual rising sign to listen to what I'm saying. If your rising sign is past 6 degrees and 30 minutes, try looking at the sign after yours, because that's the full moon has already crossed into that next house rather than the house assigned to your rising sign. Just trust me, that makes sense. If you do not know your exact rising degree, just go ahead to my SuzzyEvolutionary.com, hit the contact button, and just say, I don't know my rising degree, and drop me your birth info, which should include your time so that I can get you. You can't get a rising degree without a birth time. If for any reason you don't know your birth time, you can book a rectification appointment. If you don't see it, email me. And again, there's payment plans and all kinds of stuff for that. And if you want that professional free chart that's got all the good stuff on it, and mine comes with cheat sheets, there's a couple ways you can get that. You can get the moon planner and certain levels of the Patreon. I will give you one and you get the cheat sheet. So it's not just like, here's my map of my birth chart and sky the day I was born, and I have no idea what any of this means, and half of it scares me. So, and again, I encourage people to be on good platforms where you're getting real astrology and not fear mongering. Okay, let's start with our Aries Rising. Aries Rising, this is happening in your 11th house. Of your people, your community, your networks, the future, and you're actually building towards, the light is coming up on connections that genuinely support where you are going, and which ones are that you've been carrying out of habit. A lot of times we hold on to friendships or communities because we've listened to each other's wounds, right? It's that band of brothers. We all understand each other's trauma and no one's judging each other. But if that community is also holding you back, it's okay to check in on that community or check in on the people that you're closest to, and also take on a new community where people are able to move out of being stuck in it. There's a difference between acknowledging it and processing and staying, unpacking the bags and staying. Um, and people who love you don't mind your growth. People who love you unselfishly will not mind your growth. And people who can't love you like that don't know how to love themselves like that. So we don't have to be mad at them. There doesn't have to be a bad guy. With the sun and Jupiter shining from the opposite side in your 5th house, because the sun is the thing that lights up the moon. The moon only gives light according to its conversation and position from the sun. It's it's lighting up your 5th house of joy and creativity with the sun and Jupiter. Not so shabby for Aries rising. The real question is whether your community leaves room for you to be a full, expressive individual that's allowed to shine. If you're in groups where you're supposed to feel shame or feel bad about getting to that place, being resilient enough to be at that place, then that is a sign that you can love them for who they are. It doesn't mean you have to continue to engage and hold yourself back. Um, you don't have to water every chat, every commitment, every we should collaborate. That has gone nowhere. Reclaim your energy and put it where it's actually reciprocated. Money and resources are sharp and discerning right now. So refine before you spend and trust that practical read over the impulse to move fast. Um, your second house is being ruled by that Venus, which is in the square with Mars. And, Gemini Mars wants to try it both ways. And that Venus in Virgo really values extracting the niched down, very specific thing that's going to help and create abundance and create value. Because Venus in Virgo does not, they're not just going to hand you something for the sake of handing you something. It has to be a value or else they're not going to feel good about it. So again, this is where you've got creative solutions. Your daily work and health are running on gut instinct right now. So lead from what your body already knows instead of forcing the system onto it. And partnership and one-on-one commitments also want precision and honesty right now, worth being intentional rather than reactive. Sometimes we can have a conversation planned and then finding out that the other person feels the same way makes us pivot because there's a pivoting of power. And if you go into those conversations really authentically and not socially trained that whoever has the power wins, because that's how we're socially trained, um, you're both going to get more out of that conversation. And especially you, because you'll be mad at yourself later for pivoting now. My humble 2 cents. Your reputation builds slow and structural on this cycle, steady kind of recognition that it's actually will hold up over time. And we love that for you. Okay. Taurus Rising. Taurus Rising, this is happening in your 10th career and reputation. Now, let me tell you something. Every time I have ever had a full moon in my 10th, it has been excellent for me. And I've even had like mid astrologers say, who runs a sale when they're having um a full moon in their 10th house? Me, and I did really, really well from it. And my community grew. Right? Don't ever let anybody tell you that like full house in the 10th means you're losing your job. It does not. Um Taurus rising, this is happening. It's fruit harvesting time. Taurus rising, this is happening in your 10th career reputation house, and the light is coming up on what you are known for. Uh, this is the question of whether the public actually feels like yours, whether you built it to be legible to everyone else or not. In other words, if you built your reputation only based on what others will think of you, anything that isn't built on where you want to be, what satiates your soul, what feels like your higher calling, may move away from that reputation, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You may realize what you built your reputation on isn't all authentically you, and that's okay. And we're going to pivot. Not everything built 5 years ago is meant to keep defining you now. You're going to grow. If you're listening to me, you're somebody who is interested in personal growth. You have grown. Your reputation can't stay the same. Money and resources also running on gut and intuition right now. Trust the read you already have. Don't overthink it. Daily work is actually sharp and very discerning. Again, don't overthink it. Your discernment is on fleek right now. So refine the routine rather than piling more onto it. I mean, as an ADHD girl, I relate to that advice. I should take it for myself, even though I'm not a Taurus rising. Partnership has quick, fresh communicative spark right now. This could be like, oh, you just tucked my closer on the floor? Okay, let's go. Which is not so shabby. Also, though, like partnerships, any kind of like contracts, those kind of things could feel really like they are defined well, that you feel comfortable and confident moving forward with it, not like you're settling on it. Um, and just let the things build. The recognition you are earning wants to be built slow and real and not fast and flashy, Taurus, which you're not about that life anyway. So this very nice full moon for you. Gemini Rising, ninth house. This is in your house of belief, higher learning, publications, promotions. If you make a video and then you publish the video, that's still ninth house. It's not just travel and religion and college. It's your worldviews, and also it's how you expand yourself and how you take in ideas that are different, right? If the third house is your neighborhood, the ninth house is everyone else's neighborhood. And how do you do when you're in somebody else's neighborhood? What has to be adapted about your belief system so you can flourish in that situation? This full moon wants you to see clearly which beliefs still fit and which ones you have been repeating on autopilot, with the sun and Jupiter lighting up the third, that house of every day communications. This can be writing. Again, it could be making the video. It could be thinking about what kind of video you want to make. You could be writing the proposal, writing a contract. Um, the pull is between the big philosophy and the daily conversation, and you both want the attention, right? Like, you get to release the belief that has quietly stopped you for being true for you. Like, we're all going to outgrow beliefs. There's no shame. There's actually, you should be proud of yourself when you're outgrowing a story you used to swear by, right? And I understand Gemini energy a lot. Sometimes Gemini can get stuck in the story. Well, but this one time when I tried it that way, right, the bad thing happened. And so letting yourself not be hunkered down, because Gemini does not like being held down. Not being held down by story is one of the ironic things of Gemini, where they really want to have choices, but feeling like one thing isn't a choice because they're also mercurially stuck in that story. It's not flakiness. Don't let anybody tell you you're two faced or flaky. And if they do, give them my email and I will talk to them. That is growth. Money is running at full strength for you this cycle. So let financial decisions be intentional rather than rush. The daily work has that lively, fast moving idea. It's very epiphany run, sparks. Worth following, even if it's just a little scattered right now. Aim at it. It'll come into clarification later. Because remember, you're not supposed to like overly commit. Let the future be a little blurry and let things evolve and pivot. Committed partnership, which you're very good at, Gemini. Committed partnership is kind of warm and expressive, generous. And so, like, business partnerships could feel like that as well. Anything that's around a contract, genuinely a good stretch, and your reputation also right now is bright and generous. So let yourself be seen. I mean, Gemini risings, you're all so fun and fun to talk to. I happen to have one at my house. I made one. Um, and she's one of my favorite humans to have a conversation with because I will crack up half the time. Um, Cancer rising. This is landing in your eighth, the eighth house of what is shared intimacy. Yes, debt, but it can also be other people's money. The second house is your resources, what you work for. That's your sweat, that's your toil, that's your work. Eighth house doesn't mean somebody died and left your money. It's just passive income. It's other people's money that you're working smart, not hard. The deep stuff that transforms you instead of just rearranging your schedule. What is true about shared resources or close bond right now is running at full volume. There's no softening it. Make sure you feel the trust. Intimacy is about trust, not physical intimacy. When we talk about the intimacy of the eighth house, it's not always, can it be? Yeah, sure. Scorpio, you know, uh, yes, it can be. And also, it's really about trust. Um, this is the most Plutonian house of all of them. And remember, Pluto is personal power and transformation. So it's about reclaiming something you handed over, not about loss. With the Sun and Jupiter lighting up that second house of your own money and resources, it's also lighting up. Let me tell you something. Jupiter in that second house of self worth is beautiful. Make sure you're using that Jupiter to recognize yourself without and not asking anybody else what they think. You feel your self worth. No one else determines that. And there's probably a lot of you that are like, yeah, we know that, Susie. And I get that. But like, really feel it, because there's always fine tuning of those big things that we healed. And you will unconsciously calibrate the antenna of what you think you can attract as far as abundance, whether that's love, money, being treated decently based on how you love and feel your own worth. And that's about how you make yourself safe and not waiting for somebody else to do that. The door always opens from the inside. Say it with me, kids. You get to see clearly where you've been overinvested in something out of fear and quietly step back into your own power. Balance. You don't have to overpower anybody else, but just step back in your own. Your own resources are bright, expansive, generous right now. We love this. Jupiter in the second house. So let that grow. Daily work, and health are also expansive right now. Like you could find solutions to things. You could be offered new positions. Make sure if somebody's like, hey, would you like to also do this? Yes, I would. I would also like to be paid for that. Uh, grow it, stretch it, let the room get bigger rather than getting locked into one shape too soon, Cancer risings. I know you have a lot of people to nurture and take care of, but make sure that you're on the top of that list. It's not selfish. We can take care of others better when we have healthy boundaries and we fill our own tank. Our pitcher is full. We're not just pouring out into the glasses of work and family and relationship and everything else. We need to make sure the pitcher is always full, or else we can't pour out into anyone and then we burn out instead. The committed partnership builds slow and is structural right now, real over speedy, over fast. And your reputation is kind of sparking. You may hear something about yourself that's actually really nice and be like, oh, are they saying that about me? That is awesome. Like, who, me? What? No. Yes. Worth putting your voice out there, even if even though it is like early. So again, things are cyclical. The next moon will help kind of push that out. But if you want something, go get it. Leo Rising. Leo Rising, the full moon is happening in your seventh, partnerships, contracts, anyone that you are one on one with. And with the sun in Jupiter right now in your own first house, so nice. It is basically shining a spotlight uh, from the person who's across from you. So, whatever is true about a commitment, a contract, a business partnership, a committed relationship right now, is not to be strategized around. It's just true. And you're seeing things at full light, and they may feel like the spotlight's on them because you are shining. And so, a healthy partner is going to flourish in that. And I don't need to finish the other part of that sentence. Be unapologetically yourself, Leo risings, and you actually are meeting someone halfway, not 75% your way, 25% theirs. You can see clearly whether a partnership room leaves room for you to be you, and to release the parts of the dynamic you've outgrown. And there is no shame in outgrowing. Fuck shame. Um, the relationship can grow with you. People grow with each other. But neither person can grow if everybody's afraid to hurt each other's feelings and say, hey, something needs to shift so we can, we're not doing the same old, same old. Resources run on gut and intuition in this cycle. So trust your instincts on a money call rather than second guessing it or getting too many other opinions. Even if things logically line up, but everything in your gut is telling you no, then wait. What's meant for you won't miss you. Your daily work benefits from real structure right now. Uh, structure is scaffolding that helps us keep things on time and able to continue to build. Structure should not feel suffocating. Consistency over intensity. Light and breezy and consistent is better over than like, oh my God, I have to get this done. Partnership is the headline of the moon for you, obviously, right? It asks to be built slow and honest and no quick fixes right now, Leo risings. And your reputation is sharp. People are discerning who you are. Let the quality of your own craft speak for you. And this feels like a conversation that I keep having with clients and friends, because that's one of the really supportive energies right now. Virgo risings, just a reminder, I might put a little thing on each page, but I'm a very late degree Virgo rising. So Virgo rising has a beautiful reading. I will still have to listen to the Libra because that's where the moon will be in my chart. Virgo rising is the sixth house, your health, your daily routines. It's the actual mechanics of how you take care of yourself. And also, it is the fine tuning. Think about Virgo and that surgeon like extraction of what is the best way to do this. It is the fine tuning of self mastery. Um, Self actualization might be the first, but self mastering and that fine tuning, that is the sixth. And do it gently. You'll be there when you're there. It is the pursuit, right, of perfection that drives Virgo crazy, and like they can never achieve anything good enough when they're far out exceeding other people's mediocre that they're celebrating, right? It is being peaceful in what you produce. That is the key to that sixth house. If you have a lot of planets there, or when you're having a moon there, or if you just got a bunch of Virgo. I speak from experience, not failure, experience, because Loki says experience is experience, and I believe him. With the sun and Jupiter glowing from your 12th house of rest and what is kind of unseen, the balance is between doing and genuinely restoring. It's funny because this full moon is hitting a very good friend's chart, as they're not a Virgo rising, but it'll be hitting them like this, like a Virgo rising. And I just said earlier today, do you have a rest day that you can take so you can like replenish? Yeah, it's going to be the theme of your week. You'll see. Not everything on the list deserves your energy. And letting one thing go again is not failure, it's triage. When I thought about this phrase for Virgos and Virgo risings and people where things are falling in the sixth house, it's not failure, it's triage. If you want to tell me that it's triage as a Virgo rising, yeah, that speaks to me. Because otherwise, if you tell me it's not failure, I'll be like, yes, it is failure. I know better, but I'm still rewiring that neuroplasticity, my trauma responses, right? I'm not perfect. I can't understand what they are and then they're fixed. That's not how it works. But I thought, ooh, triage. That resonates. That I can do. Money is sharp and discerning right now, so refine it before you commit. Refine it before you commit. There's time. There's time. There's time. There's time. Time doesn't exist anyway. And it's all kind of bending. I'm just kidding. But there's time. Your daily work is the headline of the circle. If you've got pets, the way also with an Aquarius full moon that brings information and brings good quality information, not vibes, not this is also a time where you could end up researching and finding a solution for like a small health issue. So I would encourage you to do that. Clearly see what genuinely supports your well-being and releasing the perfection and allowing the rest, because you're triaging. Partnership has a bright, expansive, generous glow right now. It's a warm stretch, and your reputation, uh, you should be not going to like a million coaching. Trust your instinct. Virgos, you know, another nerd thing. Like Virgos are excellent editors. George Lucas, who's Star Wars, his wife was a Virgo. She edited all those movies, right? Like you have excellent intuition about what needs to be the thing that's highlighted. And I'm this those movies standing the test of time is proof enough. Um, let's look at our Libra risings. My pretty Libra risings. I always say that. Um, This is happening in your fifth house of romance, creativity, children, and the stuff that's supposed to feel like pleasure instead of obligation. And also, what are we willing to risk for it? The risky kind of fun. Uh, whatever you actually enjoy right now is not what you're supposed to be doing. If you don't enjoy it, stop doing it. If you enjoy it, that's what you're supposed to be doing it. It is lit up all the way. And the moon is traveling with Pluto here. So this is about reclaiming your joy as a source of real power and not like a luxury. Joy and creativity are not luxury. It is not like, you know, yeah, you can go to the ball after you've mopped all the floors twice and fed the evil cat and like, no, you should feel joy every day. But when you allow yourself joy and you associate that with lazy or not getting other stuff done, that is where the problem lies. And because, again, for a lot of Virgo risings, anybody over 6 degrees in 30 minutes, this reading is yours. I want you to hear me if you're Virgo rising late and you're on this Libra rising video. Also Libra risings for sure. But um with the sun and Jupiter shining your 11th house of community, the balance you get between your personal stuff and what a group wants from you gets balanced. Or find a group where that doesn't feel like it takes a lot of balance, right? Having to be having diplomatic skill sets is great. Feeling like you need to use them 24/7 is not a flex, that is a trauma response, and I love you. You get to release also creative or romantic attachment you have outgrown and pour that energy back into genuinely what lights you up. And listen, when you light up, everybody around you benefits from that. Money has fresh, quick, idea driven spark. Um, that Jupiter is leading that, or Mars rather, is leading that second house, and that is in that lovely creative square with Venus. Um, so specific, and you might get some really great epiphanies and ideas, new angles worth chasing, even though you might feel like it's early. Uh, you know, right, brain dump, put that idea someplace. Your daily work is expansive, generous. Um, and again, room to grow, don't lock it down into one shape. Partnership and commitment also carry some fresh, quick, like brown chicken, brown cow. You just said what? Oh, that was nice. Um, Start of rather that something that feels exciting. And this, of course, that spills into business partnerships, anything that's committed contracts. Um, we're not settling, we're building, and we're building kind of feeling like inspired and mentally sparked. Your reputation is running at full strength also, so you're allowed to let your just dance with the idea of being more seen. And remember, it's great that you can be a diplomat. That doesn't mean you should have to give that service 24/7 for free in your life at all times. Scorpio risings. I have so many of you. I always feel proud that I collect Scorpio risings. Um, this is your fourth house. This is home, family, your roots, the private foundation. Almost no one else sees your sanctuary, right? That fourth house. This is where we go purposely for privacy, right? Where the eighth house, sometimes society tells us that's where we have to be. We have to be private about those things. And the 12th house is the privacy you did not ask for, right? Surrounded by cotton candy and nebulous clouds. Um, am I in here by myself? Hello. Um, so that fourth house is the sanctuary that you want, right? But now the moon is full there. So sometimes it brings light to things that you were like, hey, that was my business. Get out of here. Close the door. It's do not disturb, right? But we don't get as much do not disturb on that door right now. With the moon traveling with Pluto, which is also part of your rulership, this one might feel personal. And, this could be as easy as you redecorate, you move some stuff around, you decide if you have, I'm going to say, especially if you bought a house in the last, I don't know, um, couple of years and you feel settled into it, but now you're changing and you're thinking like, oh, I wanted, this kind of minimalist, because moving was a pain in the ass, and I'm like, I don't want that much stuff anymore, and I went minimalist, right? And now you're feeling different. Honor that. Redecorate at home. You might be changing your idea of what home is supposed to look like. Um, and with the sun and Jupiter shining from your 10th in career, this is balance between public role and private base. Oh, both are asking for you to kind of be publicly available, and be big and be great and be what everybody expects you to, which makes you want to retreat to that sanctuary more. So, any place that you don't have boundaries, this is a great place to look at them. Scorpio Rising's pretty good with boundaries. It's their factory settings, right? Um, but even with the people that you love the most, I would fine tune that maybe a little bit. Um, you get to release a family cycle or any kind of living situation that you've really outgrown. And of course, there is no shame in outgrowing anything. It means you've grown, and that is something that you should be proud of. Um, as we heal, what we need for safety changes. That's just neurological facts. That is nervous system facts. And it's okay to re-examine that. And what you thought you needed 10 years ago, which feels so different now, you weren't wrong then. That's what you needed then. And now you can let it change. Resources are expansive. They're beautiful. The ruler, of course, is that Jupiter of your second house, and it's with the sun. So, like, things can grow right now for resources. It doesn't necessarily mean work, but you might have to put a little work into it. Um, daily work is, and just your daily routine may change. You may feel like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for walks at night, or I'm going to start this show, or I'm going to take a class and go every Thursday. Uh, you know, these are things that are worth exploring, even if you're not sure where you want to land with it. Committed partnership, business partnerships, contracts, commitments right now are very discerning right now, which you already are naturally discerning. Be precise about what you are agreeing to. And the reputation is, again, everybody's looking at you, they know. Ask them, they'll know all the answers. Again, if you are more than 6 degrees and 30 minutes of Scorpio rising, please make sure you're watching Sagittarius. Sagittarius rising, third house. Sag does not mind a full moon in the third house. Lands in your communication house, siblings, local jaunts. This is your neighborhood. This is the emails. This is the videos that you're like, should I publish it? Should I not publish it? This can be interviewing also. Also, this could be your own writing, your own music making. It's creation, right? On that. It's creation where you don't think of it as like a big creative project, but like uh the things that feel kind of natural to you, which would be writing, if that is blown, if that's lighting up in your chart, or music, or sometimes we see singing here. Uh, the way that you actually talk to people day to day, the way that you communicate, interact, the gas station you always stop at, right? Um, this is a full moon that brings up honesty to the surface in how you are communicating, Sagittarius rising. Um, and Sagittarius risings care how they communicate. They really do. Um, and so anything that you weren't aware of could be brought to the surface right now. And that could just mean like one person uh maybe possibly needs you to tweak that for them at this moment because they're sensitive to something. Say the true thing, which you're very good at. Say it kindly and clearly. Yep. Um, resource, don't say yes to something because, like, yeah, that sounds great, and then ghost right now, because that just is going to lead everybody to more stress later. And it's tempting to do when too many offers come in, and don't overextend yourself. Um, resources build, which is great. You're gonna have Saturn leading that second house, and that's in Aries. So like also reworking resources. Like if they were not the right ones a couple of months ago, rework them so that they are now. Um, steady over flashy. And your sixth house, that self mastery, how you are doing every day. Um, could use a little fine tuning, then this is a great time. Committed partnership runs on intuition right now. So if somebody's saying, I'm fine, and you feel like they're not fine, instead of feeling like, well, I'm their partner. Why aren't they telling me I'm fine? I'm their business partner. I don't like this. They're saying they're fine when I can feel that they're not. Take a step back because that's what the Aquarius moon asks you to do. What's in the betterment of everybody. So not coming out of it like your feelings are hurt because there isn't trust, or they don't trust you to tell you. Um, go into it and know that sometimes people just can't say the thing out loud because it's too painful and it's not about you. Um, so run on that instinct, and then lead from knowing that it's not personal, that you're not doing anything wrong because you care so much. So feeling like, what have I done? I'm not even saying you're like, I can't believe they're being rude to me. I'm saying that if you feel like I really worked hard to create this like generous space for them and listen to them, and they still can't give it to you, I promise you it's not about you. Your reputation is led by instinct also right now. Trust your gut and trust your voice out into the world, Sag risings. Okay. Capricorn risings, your badasses. I'm going to keep saying that so all the Capricorn risings know that they're just like sexy MFers that are just natural badasses, the way that Scorpio Rising is. You guys have that in common. This is your happening in your second. A full moon in your second house doesn't mean you're going to lose your resources. Again, it just, that's where the fruit can get picked. If you have a financial advisor, and you might as a Capricorn rising, I would see like what stock should be like, all right, we did good on this, and now let's like move it over to a different one. In a full moon, right? We're looking at what's working and letting go what's not. So if you're somebody who does investment, and you have an investor, or you've got a JP Morgan, you can call up the office and ask somebody to help you that comes with it. Um, this could be a good time to do that, to make sure that you're not slowly bleeding, and also so that you're making the most of what is ready to be picked. Um, it the full moon's not asking you to grind harder, it's asking you to bring full light to what genuinely makes you feel secure, or what just keeps you busy. And you feel like, that's if I work, if I work, if I work, right? I always say, if a Capricorn gives you a majority of their time, that is like anyone else spending all of their last money down to their last penny, because that is the currency. It's time, because time can be used to work and build and work and build and lead, right? So there's a little work smarter, not harder here for you, Capricorn rising, and I love it for you. Um, Sun and Jupiter signing in your eighth. Again, I would look at investments, house of shared investments as well, other people's resources, balances between what's yours and what's entangled with somebody else's. That might be on the menu a little bit. What makes sense to keep sharing. Um, I love that it's starting to be golden hour as we're closing up. Just such a lovely night. I don't know if you can hear all the birds, but they're all talking quite a bit. They are also they have a lot to say about the Aquarius full moon. The power and releasing the belief that your worth is measured by output. Like, if you have to rest right now, you're not broken. And if you can figure out a way to work smarter and harder, there's no one's looking at you going, oh my God, they're being so lazy. They're thinking, oh my God, they're so fucking smart. I'm gonna go talk to them, find out what they're doing, because they've got some wisdom. Your money is the headline of the moon for you. Build it slow and structural, which you're very good at. Grow the stabler version, which you're very good at. And that self mastery, that fine tuning, that daily grind for you, because you're Cap rising, but daily routine runs on gut and intuition. If you've been doing something the same way, drinking coffee the same way, and if you're starting to feel bored, that's not good. You don't need to add something else. You just need to shift, pivot. Committed partnership is also running full strength. If there's anything serious, just don't try to manage it for your partner. Because when you try to manage it for your partner, if you have a partner who wants to be managed, that's eventually going to get exhausting for you. And two, they'll feel so proud of themselves when they manage it themselves. And you work on it as partners and not a manager and somebody who needs to be managed. And your reputation is enough that you could live off a little bit. It's almost like a bank account for you, which, what's better? Okay, Aquarius rising. This is your full moon. It's happening in your first house, possibly right on your ascendant if you're around 6 degrees. Again, if you're later than 6 degrees, make sure you're listening to Pisces rising. It basically never happens, when it's in your first house. Um, it doesn't happen as quietly often. But if it is, if you're over 6 degrees, just remember it's going to be happening in your 12th house. It's a very different read. Make sure you're listening to the Pisces rising as well. If it's happening in your first, and this is for late Cap risings too, this is how you show up. This is what people clock before you've said a word. And this is how you clock people before they've said a word. That light is coming all the way up on your own identity And you are so good at the change and the pivoting and let's move it and let's progress it. So this full moon should feel really good for you. You've also got some great support from the sun and Jupiter shining from that seventh house, partnerships that really appreciate the fact that you are able to not have those unhealthy attachments and move and pivot. Um, you get to release an old version of yourself that you've outgrown, that you do not have to have the whole world redefined overnight. And what is gentle is sustainable. I promise you will do the thing, you will leave the mark, you will make it all better. You will. And you can just really see everything that needs to be moved and shifted. So just pick one thing at a time, Aquarius, because it's not your responsibility to fix the whole world. The one thing I will say about Aquarius is they are so good at solutions, and sometimes people hop into that seventh house that can have a problem for every solution you give them. They can find two more problems because that makes them feel cared about when they didn't feel cared about when they were younger. Um, and so you want to make sure you're getting true partnership in that house, um, and not you're doing so great. Also, pay attention. Don't forget me. Don't forget me. Oh, you're so busy at work. I thought maybe if I forgot my name, that's emotional manipulation. You don't like that. That doesn't go well. You know, you can give them tools so they can also find their own solution, and then they feel proud too. Very similar to that Cap Rising. Um, what is gentle is sustainable again, and that includes relationships. Committed partnership is bright, right? And it can be generous if it's super healthy. And this can be a really beautiful, warm stretch if you're not in the place where somebody's like, hey, I have another problem for you to solve. I'm going to make one up because we do this so well. Uh, Your reputation might have a little spark right now, and again, worth putting your name out, even if it feels a little early, still worth it. And people probably think better of you than you even care what they think. So, the right ones get it. The right ones get it, Aquarius Rising. Okay. Pisces Rising, beautiful Pisces Rising, and last but never least, this is happening in your 12th. The quickest house in the chart, the quietest house in the chart, rather. Uh, Rest, closure, spiritual. It's also institutions. It's also, where we create connection to things that aren't tangible. And we also, this is our house of mental health. When we have a full moon, sometimes we realize that, a full moon in Aquarius, especially Pisces, can be like, again, and if you're late Pisces, make sure you're listening to the Aries rising actually for the 11th house. But if you are that early Pisces or late Aquarius rising and you're listening to this, there Aquarius is about solutions. So if there is something that's like making you feel off and it ends up being like a supplement that was contradicting another, or a place that you were taking eating and you're not eating at that time, or it there could be a million reasons, um, because our nervous system and our neuroplasticity and our brain are all connected. There could be something that finds a solution for when you're not feeling as grounded, and that is beautiful. Um, 12th house is actually lovely because the full light is so softened by a little like that cotton candy, right? Um, we can see things and it doesn't have to be everybody else's business, where it feels like a full moon in the 10th, right? Or a full moon in some other houses feels like that's everybody's business and I don't want it to be everybody's business. Um, Even the full moon in the 4th can feel like, there's a do not disturb. It's like the maid opening the door when there's the do not disturb and you're half naked in bed and trying to rest and you're like, "No, no, no, don't run the vacuum." Where in the 12th house, you kinda get to have the discovery on your own without the audience, which is kind of nice. Um, the Sun and the Jupiter going from the 6th house, there is light and generosity on that fine tuning. Really, this is very good for like what is stressing us the fuck out. This full moon is very good for that. Um, if you're having it in the 12th, you get to release what is quietly ending, not anybody else's business. So you can make room for what's coming, and and thank it for its purpose on its way out. Everybody knows I love a Marie Kondo moment. Thank it and let it go. Um, Money has new ideas, almost like an epiphany right now. And it's worth researching, even if it feels like, well, maybe now's not the time, but let me get my thoughts around this. Let me get the structure started to be etched out and sketched out. Bright, expansive fine tuning again right now, and room to grow rather than be hard on yourself and get entrapped in those like what I did wrong. None of that for this full moon. Um, Committed partnership is again, you're so good at the instinct. Pisces rising, if you're having the sun and Jupiter, or rather, you have that Virgo in that on that seventh house cusp, you're very good at intuitively showing up. When somebody's trying to overthink what their feelings are, you're very good at just showing up and be like, well, you don't have to over explain it to me. We can just sit here and vibe. You could just be exactly how you are, and that's going to be okay with me. I will make space for it. And not only will I make that space for it, I'm going to make it comfy so that you can just kind of, make a nest in this cotton candy energy. It's beautiful. So let your intuition take over. Um, Even if somebody's being a little sharp with their words, say, come back to me why don't we have this conversation when you can be a little bit more relaxed? If I can help you be a little bit more relaxed, let me know. Doesn't mean you have to take abusive verbiage, but you're very good at that support. Lead from your instinct, which is already good. And reputation is also, you're another person where it's like, really? They said that about me? Oh my God, that's amazing. Like, are you sure it was me? Yes, we're sure it was you. And it will keep growing that way. Just be you, Pisces rising. Just be lovely and creative and and comfort, but just make sure you're giving that comfort to yourself. Um, this has been my pleasure. I would like to thank the universe again and the weather for giving us this beautiful night to film, and we are indeed in golden hour at this point. Um, if you have any questions, please leave me comments, tons of comments. I love comments. Pivoting and not getting emotionally attached to what it has to look like is so good for everybody in this energy right now. And we need the change. Look around. We need the change. And we'll let those chips fall where they may. Go watch Lori Rivers for the mundane astrology, but allowing yourself to pivot and what the plan is going to be so good for you. I hope you do that. Hop in the Patreon community. The Moon Planner is amazing. It's low key a self development tool, and it's on sale right now like crazy. That's on my website. And I love you. Now you love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for spending your time with me.